Hello there, Carstairs here. In this video I've got this 19th century Pepperbox revolver by J.R. Cooper, but now I'm going to start stripping it down and seeing if it needs any repairs. Okay, that's not tight. That one looks okay though. Now then, you can see the mechanism. The problem it's having is I don't think it feels alright, the action. It is a bit hard on the final pull there, but oil would probably help with that. But what's happening is the hook to pull the hammer back is not dropping back in to its position there on that latch. Yeah. Again. Oil may well help with that. Safety mechanism there, which just stops the trigger. Right. That looks to be coming awry. Stops the trigger. It's being pushed back. Okay. That's pretty rusty. I might have trouble putting that back in. It's not interested. Okay, that's very loose. So there we've got the hand. Interesting. I suspect that component has bent, it's worn away, and then it's just bent as I suspect as people have been pulling the hammer back with the safety engaged. It's just bent it. It's opened it out like that. Make a new one, I guess. Bend it back. Weld it. Probably not difficult to make, but anyway. Got all the parts here now, all the small bits are in that basket, and I'm going to boil these for an hour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend this piece back so I can get a better idea of its shape as it would be originally. So what I'm going to do now is to remake this part, which as you saw earlier has just blown out at its weak point. I've mushed it back together so I can get a better, more accurate copy. And so this sits in between those springs there, and is actuated by this catch which goes in there. I'm going to drill the hole first, so this part slots onto the catch there, and then a pin holds it. So this is a 1.5mm drill bit, goes through, but a 2mm one won't. So I'm going to drill a 1.5mm hole to get started. So I've got my 1.5mm hole going through this piece of metal now, and what I'm going to do is do some marking up so that I can drill out this part here, or mill out this part here. So I've got a 2mm end mill here now, and I'm just going to open up that hole to make it big enough for a file to get in there. So now I'm in a position where I can pretty much get a file in there now and start opening it out. Okay, so quite close now. Okay, so pleased with that. So I've got my hole all sorted and drilled out. Now I need to thin this off and get it into shape. So I've got a rough shape now, and I'm just going to use the mill to cut this down. So now what we need to do is make sure that that can sit inside the fork of the spring. So I'm just at the stage where I can start to hand file it now. So where I am now is with this is the part is in the right shape for it to sit in between the spring easily. So now it's just a matter of fitting the catch and filing the part down so that the holes line up. I don't think they're too bad there, just take a bit off. So where I am now is I've got the part roughly into shape, and as you can see it's fairly simple. When the safety is engaged, the bar comes across and just stops the trigger from going in and activating the mechanism, and then just simply back. And the way this is all held together is with this spring, fork spring, compressed down and going through there, so the whole thing is sandwiched, and that keeps it taut. If you pull the pin out, then there we go. So where I'm at now is what I'm going to do is going to shape this a bit more and then see where we are there. So I've put the gun back together a bit now, and we can see a bit more how this safety mechanism works. It's disengaged at the moment, but when it's engaged this bar moves forward, and currently because it's too big it's stopping the trigger from going all the way back. So we are going to need to take off at least that much. So I've reassembled some of the gun now to show you what's happening with the safety. It's in its shape now, and as you can see it's allowing the trigger to go past it there, but if I put the safety on it won't allow the safety past. So that's all in there, and I'll be sanding and polishing that to make it look a bit nicer. So while I've been trying to get this back together to test out the new safety mechanism, run into a few problems. This screw that holds on the mainspring, the threads are shot on it, absolutely shot. There's nothing left there, and it won't hold the spring on anymore, so I'll have to tap that and then put a metric one in it. It shouldn't be too bad. You know, I don't need to turn one. I can just take one out of stock. And the other thing that's happened is the sear spring has snapped. So I'm going to have to make a new one of those before I can continue. So I'm going to remake this spring that I broke now using some thin spring steel. So I've got some spring steel in the mill there. I'm just going to drill 2 mil holes through it. So I'll just cut that out now. So I've got my spring in the vise. I'm just going to file it down to its shape. So I've got my spring now, and I need to bend it and then temper it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat this till it's glowing hot and then quench it in this oil. You can use water. Just fish it out of the oil. I'm going to wrap it in this tin foil. So I've got this hot plate which is set for about 350 degrees Celsius, and I've got my wrapped spring, and I'm just going to leave it on there for half an hour. So it's been half an hour now. I'm just going to take the spring off and leave it to cool naturally. Just unwrap this now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is shorten that spring and maybe thin it out a bit. So as you can see, I've refitted the spring now, thinned it out across its length and just taken a little bit off, and it feels really, really good now. So I've got a 4mm tap, which should be alright, and a 4mm bolt. So let's get this tapped. So that's fine. Just need to chop this down a bit and then can try fitting the spring. So I've got my 4mm screw now, and we can try and fit this spring. So I've got my new safety catch part. What I'm going to do now is just harden it. So I'm going to heat it up and look for a changing colour from a straw to a purple to a light blue colour, and then quench it in that oil. It's starting to turn now. You can see the purple coming out. Just about into the pale blue now. Call it there. There we are. It's ready to go into the gun in final fitment. So I just want to revisit the screw for this spring here. As you saw, I tapped it for 5mm and I used this 5mm screw to hold it on. It did work, but I was going in at such an angle that it's just mashed up the top of the head of the screw there. So that's no good at all, is it? When you know, the next person opens it, they're going to find out, and it doesn't look great, does it? So I just take you back to the original screw that was holding it on, and you can see the threads just there are just disintegrating. So, and that's with just the movement, minute movements of the spring acting on the screw. So what I've done is I've gone on to Amazon and I've managed to get these square head screws, which is much more in keeping with the original. So I'll be able to tighten this one up nice and tightly without damaging it, and it's going to look a lot better. So I'm going to chop this down a bit and then screw it in with the spring, and then file it flush with the back end of the grip here. So now I need to cut that down and then file it flush. So I'm going to start by using a relatively coarse warding file, just to get somewhere near. Okay, so I'm going to switch to fine file now. Okay, so I think that's about as far as I'm going to go. I will be polishing that now with some sandpaper. So I've got all my parts out of the boil now and they're all dry, so I'm going to start carding them now. So I've got the wire wheel in the Dremel now, and I'm just going to run the pieces over it very gently. Okay, so there we are. That's got rid of all the any leftover rust and dirt. So all I need to do now is do that for all the rest of the parts. So everything's carded now, and I'm ready to put the pistol back together. So what I'm doing is taking the tension off this spring, and I think I'll reassemble the safety and then tighten the spring. Okay, so now I've got access to that pin hole. Yeah, it's gone straight through. So now then, for this bolt that holds the mainspring on, I've filed off the numbers on the top of the bolt, and I've also hardened it. Okay, so we've eliminated the problem of the hook not going back to its resting position. The problem was, I believe, that spring there, because it's funny because I took it all apart and then put it back together and it worked, and then I broke the original spring that went in there. So I borrowed the one from the axle for the barrels, and it worked. So when I made a new spring, it didn't seem to work again. So I've had to fettle that spring just a bit to make it work. But as for now, it seems to be returning to, where it should go. So safety, that's working. Right. far as the grips go, I'm just going to leave these alone. There's nice patina on them. All I've done is just polished up the escutcheons on the grips. It's all back together now. I'm very pleased with the way it's come out. It is a shame about the pitting on the barrels, but unfortunately it's been stored that way up, and water has got, or dampness has got to the barrels there. It's fairly common that, but otherwise, you know, it looks all right. So things I've done to this pistol: made a new safety mechanism slider for it, replaced the mainspring screw, and resolved the problem with this hook not returning to its correct position. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing, and links to buy me a coffee are down in the description below. Thanks for watching.